Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Southern Tomfoolery Unlimited, the interview show where we like to STF you for once and listen to the wonderful words of our fantastic guests. I'm your host, Zach, joined as always by my good friend, your good friend, and everyone's favorite space dad, Adam Kelly. How's it going, bro?
Pretty good. How
Awesome.
are you?
Doing great, man, and I'm
Excellent.
excited. Today we have some great guests lined up. Fellow Starfinders, Aslanti punching funny guys, and creators of the novel visual campaign, Dice Versa. Welcome to the show, Nick and Tony. Hey, guys. So glad to have you.
Hey,
how's it
thanks
going?
for having us. Good. How you doing?
Great. Awesome.
Yeah, man.
How your mama doing?
I'm excited to be here.
How you mom and him? Awesome.
Doing good.
So before we get into the show, let's take a minute to get to know a little bit about each of you. So who are you? What do you do? How did you get into the TTRPG space? We want to know how the cast of Dice Versa came together.
Sure, yeah. We are both game designers, video game designers. We actually met working at a company in San Diego called Jam City, working on mobile games. The Cookie Jam franchise, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but that's what we were working on as game designers. Mm-hmm. And, the entire crew, not just Tony and I, but Chris and Eric as well. And, we started doing like a work game of 5th edition. And then from there, we would just talk about how we wanted to make a actual play show. And I would say what I wanted it to sort of look like and that sort of thing. And that's sort of how it started.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. It's so interesting, the similarities between our group and yours, because we're not programmers, but we did start in 5e and then move into Starfinder when we went into the actual play space. Mm-hmm. So I've always thought that, and of course we both played Aeon Throne to start, so those parallels have always been quite interesting to me.
Absolutely. All right. So now that we know a little bit more about you, can you give us a rundown of what your show is out there for those who don't know? Because it's a little different than your normal actual play podcast.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I figured this question was going to come up, and I was sort of racking my brain, like, how do I describe this? Because I'll try to describe it to people who don't know what an actual play is, and that's especially hard. But at least your guys' audience sort of knows what an actual play, or definitely knows what an actual play is.
I would hope that if they're listening to this show, that they know what an actual play is.
So, I'm 130 episodes in, and I really don't understand what y'all are doing
exactly. No, so that makes it a little bit easier to explain what it is. So yeah, it's a very heavily edited actual play. We try to keep it sounding as natural as possible, but we take out anything that sort of, slows down the narrative, if that makes sense. Whether that's like looking up rules or talking, refreshing somebody's memory of what happened, just like cutting out all of the in-between stuff so that we only keep what's really important to the narrative while still trying to keep it sound pretty natural and fun. And we also add custom character art that Tony does, which is phenomenal. If you guys haven't seen it, please check it out because it's super cool, the art that Tony does. And we also add stock photos for background images to add setting, and we add official art from the Starfinder books and all of that stuff just to try to make it as cohesive and faithful to Starfinder as possible, I guess.
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, just a major difference between us, is we try to make it, most people try to make it audibly immersive. We decided to go that extra step and also make it visually immersive so people can watch what's going on, as well if they, if that helps them, visualize everything, if, for people who are more visual learners and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
One of the ways that I like to describe what the show sort of looks like is sort of like a visual novel or a visual novel game, or even Fire Emblem, where you just have a static image of a character in a space and then you have text or dialogue going over it. Sort of like that.
I definitely got that old school JRPG vibe from it, right? Mm-hmm. it's not necessarily animated in the way that you would think a cartoon or something would be animated, right? But it's static images that are moving in some capacity.
Right.
Lots of visual effects. Yeah. The production value definitely demonstrates that you guys have some kind of expertise in production. So did your background in game design, is that where you kind of got these skills to create this sort of this medium that you're using?
So I actually have a degree in film production, so that helps a lot, especially on the video side. The audio editing side of it has been definitely a learning process, and I think it could be better than where it is now, but I think it's in a fairly good spot. And learning, as far as exactly. As far as the skills that we brought to the show, largely from my college experience, and then I think just the fact that we're all sort of on the same page when it comes to like role playing and what we want the presentation of the show to be, really helps, solidify that and drive that home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as far as the audio editing, it definitely has a quick pace to it. When you're watching the show, there isn't a whole lot of really dead air, and I think you guys have done a really good job of like trimming the fat, as it were. There's a lot. Some people really enjoy the uncut, as it. I guess you could say that way. But I appreciate the smoothness with which your transitions happen and everything.
Well, in the visual medium too, like you don't really want to have to visually represent looking up rules or bad memories, as you said, of like, okay, so what happened? Well, you don't want to have that space where you're trying to fill it with artwork that you've already used. And,
Or you just leave it on what's on the screen while you guys are talking about it. And it just becomes a little bit of a problem if you leave all that stuff in.
We definitely go in and cut out a lot of the fat. Like we painstakingly go into the audio and just be like, yeah, cut this out. It's like, oh, there's an here, get that shit out of here. There's a little awkward pause here, get that out of here. But yeah, we do try to keep in the stuff that, the tiny bit of, chit chat that, still keeps it light and entertaining to remind people this is an actual play. We are actually playing and having fun and not just doing a radio play.
Oh, sure. Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I didn't want to misrepresent. There's still jokes.
Oh,
jokes are still in there, yeah.
Yeah, it's still a personality in the show, without a doubt.
Yeah, like I said, we try to keep it sounding as natural as possible. But I do think that, I do think that the pacing of the show is sort of where we've really like nailed it. I think that we've done a very good job of just keeping the show, like keeping the story flowing, like I was saying before, and just keeping the narrative going at a pretty good clip to keep people interested, because I think that's like what I bounce off of when it comes to actual plays. Like Critical Role, for example, like obviously paved the way and is one of the best actual plays out there, but at the same time, there's a lot of distraction happening in that game, right? There's a lot of side chit chat, there's a lot of rules looking up and that sort of stuff.
You get all 4 hours.
And exactly. And they're 4 hours long.
4 hours.
Mm-hmm. And so, for me personally, I find that I will tune out when they start deviating from the narrative, and then I'll miss something and I'll have to go back, and that turns a 4-hour episode into a 6-hour episode for me, And so I was like, how can we mitigate that? And then I got really into the McElroy's The Adventure Zone. And they do a little bit better job of like sticking to the narrative and focusing on the narrative, but then they sort of let the rules slip and they don't put so much focus on that stuff. And I wanted to find like a nice medium in between those, and also just like keep the pace up and keep it flowing pretty quickly. And yeah, like Tony was saying, we cut out all the and we even go through and like, you might have noticed, or hopefully you didn't notice, that during combat, I'll cut out all of the times that like I prompt somebody for their turn. Like I won't say, Chris, it's your turn. It'll just go right into his character's turn. Right. So that really helps just keep everything flowing in one narrative.
Yeah, the pacing of it, especially in the visual medium, is a really fantastic strength of yours. And one thing that stuck out to me immediately, and I was like, this is really well done. This is exactly how it needs to be for a visual medium.
Yeah, it definitely stands out, like right from the get-go. You're like, okay, this has a really, I mean, if it does, for as many static images as there are, it does feel like you're watching an animated show because it is moving, you know.
Yeah,
for
thanks,
sure,
guys.
And speaking of static images, Tony, you know, you're quite the artist, man, and you have you've drawn the artwork for all of the characters on Dice Versa. And you've even drawn some things for STF, including a fantastic Sonic OC of me.
I apologize for that, by the way.
No, man.
Don't you dare.
Don't you dare
apologize for that.
That was top-notch memeing, dude. You really brought joy to so many people with that one, so including me. That was great. I really enjoyed it. But how long have you been drawing and sketching, man? And, you know, what about visual art appeals to you?
Oh man, if you ask my parents, like I've been drawing since I was a little kid. One of my mom's favorite stories that she likes to tell is how when I was just like a wee babe, you know, I had drawn Ninja Turtles on my parents' wall, apparently in crayon. But
yeah, for sure.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yeah, I just was always drawn to drawing. You know, since I was a kid, you know, I grew up on cartoons and stuff like that and games, you know, so I always loved drawing like Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, Dragon Ball Z. You know, I originally actually wanted to be a cartoonist when I was a little kid. But then, you know, I started playing, you know, some video games, like particularly like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Metal Gear Solid, Shadow of the Colossus, these like heavily, you know, story-driven cinematic games. And I'm like, you know, I was like, holy shit, these are really freaking cool. You know, I want to get into games, you know, so that's where my career interests switched over to doing games. But I still love to draw, you know, and I used drawing to kind of then supplement, you know, that. So, you know, I would like to draw and, you know, use my drawings to kind of help my game design stuff. You know, I like drawing maps and, you know, doing characters.
Obviously,
and,
characters. Yeah, for sure.
Doing like sprite art and stuff like that. So, you know, that's how I kept up with it and stayed in it. So I still do draw every once in a while. Most of the time, I use it for, you know, D&D drawing maps and stuff like that. But it's definitely not as strong as like, because I have, you know, obviously since we're in the game industry, we have friends who are like their title
graphic
is, you know,
designers,
professional artists.
Yeah, professional artists. And, you know, my stuff is nowhere near as good as them because since I kind of, you know, changed my focus from just art to, you know, game design and then supplemented with art. So
it's still really good.
Thank you very much. But, you know, I still try. I still practice. It's not, you know, I just, and maybe I'm just not nowhere near as fast or quite as good as, you know, someone who gets paid to do that stuff.
Well, yeah, man, but you're utilizing this in this, you know, visual narrative medium. And I think that honestly, your art brings a lot of character to the characters and is distinctly, like, to me, like, it's that's part of Dice Versa, right? It's the, you know, the character design
shapes the identity of the show. I mean, it's certainly one of the first things that like you really attach to the show is because, you know, you opens up with that spaceship bridge, and then you meet the characters, right? And boom, there they are, and they're really well represented in like full life. You know, they have life in them. You know, and yeah, don't sell yourself short just because you're not getting paid for it doesn't mean you're an artist. You're not an artist. You know what I mean? And you are publishing it right now with this show. You know, it's
So one of the moments that stood out to me when we were making the show was when Nevessa at the very beginning, Nevessa and Uko meet up in the hallway, and it's the first time that we're meeting Uko. We just met Nevessa, and they're having a conversation, and just like automatically, and I don't know if it's for everybody, but when I was watching it, like my eyes would just go between the characters depending on who was talking. And when I realized that I was doing that, I was like, oh, this is actually like, this is working. This is something that actually adds to the show and like really makes everything sort of come together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So let's take just a second to kind of give a quick rundown of the characters. So you have a 3-character party, which is, I've GM'd a 3-character campaign and found it to be very enjoyable because it's nice and smooth and fast. But we'll get to that. But take a second and just kind of give a quick rundown of each of the characters in the show.
Yeah, sure. Tony, why don't you tell them about your character first, and then I'll tell them about the other 2.
Yeah, sounds good. So I play Mishka Silverfur. He's a Vlaka from the planet Lajak. And it seems like the Vlakas are getting pretty popular lately, but they're basically good space dog boys. But yeah, I kind of fell into the operative class again. Like we actually, my previous character was also an operative. And then I was going to switch characters, but then I don't remember, but I ended up falling back to operative. I'm like, maybe I need to play other classes. but I wanted to play him differently. Like I didn't want to just, because like to me, I kind of always want to default down to Ghost because Ghost seems really cool as far as like the archetype for operative. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to do something a little bit different. And in the lore for the Vlaka, they come from the planet Lajak, which is like a very harsh environment. I think specifically tundra. like tundra and stuff like that. So I thought it'd be fun to play off of that and make him a survivalist. So that's why I went with that track with him. So he's the explorer, right? I forget what the specialization is, but something along those lines. But
yeah, explorer. I believe it's explorer. It's one of the specs.
So he's an explorer, a survivalist, and he's the pilot on the show as well. So he basically, because
he's the operative.
Yeah, pretty much. But essentially, he grew up on this planet. He's the Vlaka. For people that don't know, are born. 2/3 of the population are born either deaf or blind. I thought that would be difficult to kind of deal with as being either one of those two. I just felt like I'll just be neither of those and be the normal boring
that is an option.
Just sighted and hearing. So he's basically one of the few that had both in his tribe, and so he kind of served as a runner, more or less, for supplies. It's like, oh, you can both see and hear, so you're going to be one of our runners to go. And so he would go to the cities to go get supplies for his clan, and then he saw the ships and stuff, and would see the sky and grew a desire to fly. And then so he, shortly after that, he became a delivery man, essentially, and he would deliver supplies to other planets, ones that are particularly a little more dangerous, to kind of put his explorer aspect into play. Is that, oh yeah, I'll go to this planet since no one else wants to, so I'll take this job. And he'll that's how he would get work and recognition. It's like, oh, this guy will fly to fucking anywhere, so let's hire that dude.
Yeah,
nice.
Right on. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Excellent rundown of the character. I love getting to give people an opportunity to like really just talk about their characters, because everyone loves to talk about their characters, right? But Nick, can you give us just a quick rundown of maybe the other 2 characters in the show?
So the other 2, we have Chris's character, who is Nevessa Voss. She's a human envoy, female. She hails from the planet of Castrovel, where she was sort of brought up by the Lashunta and was trained in psychic abilities. So she has like latent psychic powers that we've sort of been exploring and growing throughout the course of the show. And then the other one is Eric's character, who is Uko Tyrannus Bronte. He's a dragonkin soldier. He's like 10 feet tall, real big brute guy, but he's the total teddy bear once you get to know him. And yeah, he's just a dragonkin with a sort of a tragic past that we also explored in the first season. And he is just the one who goes out and demolishes every Aslanti that exists.
He's often the crowd favorite, and it always amuses me, on the show to see Uko next to like anybody else, because his art is scaled appropriately,
right.
And it's just amusing because he always, I drew him in this pose where he has like his arms crossed, and it's just always hilarious to me. It's just like when he's like up and like consuming most of the screen space, and like his bicep is like as big as my character's head.
Yeah,
like he's a big boy.
Yeah,
he's really big.
We'll talk a little more about the mini episodes, but I do want to say that I really did enjoy the recent mini episode with Uko. Kind of hearing voices. I don't want to get too much into spoilers about it, but yeah, that was a good time. It was very funny.
Yeah, that was a really fun one to record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So I do want to talk about the AP that you're running as well, because it's one that we've run. But real quick, what drew you guys to the Starfinder system? Because Starfinder's a little more niche than Pathfinder, and certainly more niche than 5e. And I know that Adam and I are constantly harping on how much we love this system and how great and expansive it is. But what got you guys into Starfinder as a system?
So
actually,
go ahead.
I think we forgot our fourth character, the ship, and Cooper.
Oh, Cooper!
Yeah, I guess he counts. He's not necessarily a player character, but yeah, I play the ship's AI, whose name is Cooper. He's a Sheeran AI, and he talks like a pirate.
He does talk like a pirate, yes.
For a reason, which, again, we are exploring that during the course of the campaign. I have all of that stuff written out. I know, the backstory for all of that stuff, but we're sort of exploring that as we go along. So yeah, Cooper is fun. People like Cooper.
Yeah, he's
I love
another
Cooper's character art.
Yeah, he's another fan favorite. That's why I wanted to make sure we do him justice and bring him up.
Yeah,
Nick does
don't sleep on Cooper.
Yeah,
for sure.
Nick does a fantastic job as Cooper, and I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But as far as how we got into Starfinder, like I said, we were playing 5th edition at work, and I think I just got like an email back when Starfinder was like first announced from Paizo, just like an announcement email. And I was like, oh, look at this, guys. There's science fantasy, sort of in the same universe as Pathfinder. And we started looking at the initial art that they put out, and we just got really excited for it even before it came out. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as it came out, we did the commencement society module, the 00 module, I think it is, just to sort of dip our feet into it. And we all really liked it. And that's sort of the long and short of it.
It's sci-fi fantasy. How could you not love it? And
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we
do everything in it.
Exactly. Yeah, we just like Nick said, we just like heard about it and we're just like, oh, this sounds dope. Let's all play. And we were just excited to play. And once we did, we fell in love with the just the gameplay and how just how it runs.
Setting.
Yeah. And then when we were actually talking about Dice Versa, then we were started looking into making characters and stuff like that. And I had character concepts and stuff. And then I started to say, all right, I want to try to cement my character a little bit more in the actual setting. And I started reading the lore, and I fell in love with the lore. The lore for Starfinder is just so damn cool. There's just a lot of cool shit. And I'm like, oh,
so good.
This is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we feel the same way. Adam came to us and said, here's this new system. It's called Starfinder. It's cool as shit. Please let's play this. Yeah, yeah. But what is a great setting without stories to tell within that setting? So when you all started, you chose the Against the Aeon Throne AP, much like Southern Tomfoolery. So we've often stated how much we love this adventure path. So I'm curious to what drew you to this AP as opposed to some of the other choices out there.
You know, the honest answer is that it was less work for us because there was an existing Roll20 module for Against the Aeon Throne. It's the only Starfinder module that is on Roll20, which is really unfortunate. But, you know, we wanted to... Not only did we want to make a show about Starfinder, but we wanted to make it try to be as faithful to the setting as we could. And so sticking with the official Roll20 module, we felt that was going to give us access to more of the art. You know, a lot of the quote unquote official work is done for like the lighting and the map setting up, and all the NPC work is set up and all of that stuff. So I would say that's like the main thing that drew us to Against the Aeon Throne, is just that module existed. Because we had played Dead Suns, and we were talking about doing Dead Suns beforehand. And we were actually, when we were first going to start, we were going to start with Signal of Screams, which technically, if you want to, you can do it right after Against the Aeon Throne, as you guys know, because you did that.
We know very well, yeah.
And so we were going to do that, and then like right as we were ramping up to do Signal of Screams, the Roll20 module for Against the Aeon Throne came out, and I was reading through it, and I was like, oh, this is actually like can work as a prequel to Signal of Screams, so maybe we should start with this.
I know Adam had to be sitting there just dying because the actual Roll20 AP came out, in the middle of book 3 for us, Adam?
Yeah. We were in the last dungeon of book 3, and they're like, hey, here's everything that you need to put into Roll20. And I mean, I was just so furious. I was like, okay, great.
Yeah,
I know your pain.
Yeah, we're happy to use that because then it's, you know, less art that I had to draw or that Nick had to find for the show.
Yeah, and I mean, just setting up Roll20 in general is...
The map placement is so much better in an official one because if you try to pull it from the PDFs from Paizo, it doesn't line up. They're not square.
Yeah.
You know, like...
They always have like that leftover half grid space on the edge. And
but like even the rows and columns aren't consistent. You know, like there'll be like a row in the middle of the map that's like a few centimeters shorter than...
Yeah, and even the art in the PDF is fairly low resolution, so you end up getting some like real artifacty, ugly looking maps.
Yes.
I have learned some techniques in Photoshop to clean them up. I can share that with you later if you want, but it's
I found an image upscaler that does pretty well for it. But yeah, it's one of the, but they're getting better. They're releasing map packs now with every adventure path that are a little bit cleaner. Still a lot of trouble to get out of the PDF itself.
Yeah.
But like they're better drawn and they are higher resolution, you know.
Yeah.
There is work that goes into this.
Yeah.
Definitely. A lot of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I've had to like manually put in 5 books so far in the Roll20. And that's a lot. Yeah.
I did the first 3 books of Dead Suns, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yep.
So, anyway, Dice Versa has now, as far as I know, completed and released all of book 1 of the AP.
That is correct.
So let's get into it a little bit.
Sure.
What did you guys think of the first part of Aeon Throne, and what are some of your favorite moments and least favorite moments in that section of the AP?
Oh man, I am really liking it. I think all of the NPCs in the first book are just top notch. All of them are so much fun to play. They're all just like really, they have great relationships with each other, and makes it really easy to get the relationship going with the PCs. I'm really enjoying it. What do you think, Tony?
I love it. I love Jellic. I love, all of the random NPCs that were there. They were all great, especially, Nick portrayed them all very well. And, Adam, you actually did a really great job too when I listened to your guys' stuff. And, seeing all the. It was great seeing how differently you guys handled and dealt with the NPCs than the way we did. And then I realized, oh shit, we missed a bunch of people that we didn't talk to.
Yep.
But but it's great. I really enjoyed it. It was fun having just like this, jungle like kind of excursion. The one thing I did think was very odd, which I, from listening to your guys' show, which you guys more or less had the same opinion, was it was weird to start off immediately with space combat. Because let's take the this relatively complex system compared to most some other systems, and then give you the even more complex ship combat to start off with. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's a jarring transition.
Throws you right in there.
Yeah, like
and it's not a particularly interesting starship combat either. Right?
Yeah, like we that spaceship combat finished our first session when we recorded. So whenever we record it a session, like a standard tabletop RPG session. So like 3 hours of recording. That first episode of Dice Versa, which is like 46 minutes. That's the entire 3 hour session condensed to 46 minutes because we had to cut out all of the bullshit from the space combat. We did not
all
fucking know.
All of us going like, wait, what can I do this turn? Is it my turn?
Oh man,
how did ship combat do?
Yeah,
like have you guys downloaded?
Not really turned, so to speak. It's more like
have you downloaded the cheat sheet yet? Have you got the PDF cheat sheet?
I don't think so.
We'll hook you up with that.
Yeah, we'll hook you up with
it'll change your life.
Oh man,
it'll change your life for Starship
so convenient.
Combat.
Yeah,
please do.
Yes.
It's so good. It's like this. It's the reason that we're able to do Starship Combat with the fluidity that we're able to. Is because we've all got that thing pulled up, and it's just like quick references. It's whoever made it. I want to give them credit, but I don't have it on hand. But it's a fantastic document for sure. I think, real quick, I think the strength of Book 1 of Aeon Throne, and I've said it before, I think, is that it creates a fantastic sandbox to ease you into it. And it's not railroady because there's a lot of options that you have where to go, who to talk to, when and where. But it doesn't allow you to abandon the plot and go start a tavern.
Yeah.
It's
very
localized.
Yeah.
It does a good
reminds
job
me of a starter zone.
Yeah, it does a good job of keeping you on task without making it feel like you're forced into it too much. It's just like, hey, help us out, please. Here's a bunch of stuff that you can go do. Handle it however you want.
Exactly.
And then get your ass kicked by a bunch of drones.
Right.
Oh,
well,
God,
yeah,
same.
right. The drones, I was gonna say, I like that the enemies are enemies that are relevant to the bigger story. A lot of time, early parts of adventures, you're just fighting random stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and it makes sense. Like, because what I like is that these Aslanti that you are fighting are not like actual Aslanti soldiers. They're recruits. They're like, they were just out on a training mission before they got roped up into Condus, right? So like you're fighting level equivalent enemies, but it makes sense within the story and it gives you an opportunity to like hate them from the get-go. You're not like waiting for the overarching enemy to show itself. It's like, oh man, space Nazis suck, like right from the start.
That was one of the things that we talked about early on, like episode 2 is when we had our first ground combat. And there was a very brief discussion of like, are we going to be murder hobos with the Aslanti and just go around killing all of them? And I was like, guys, the Aslanti suck. Don't feel bad about killing them.
Yeah.
They are literal space Nazis.
I didn't know they were just recruits, though. We fucking suck. We had so much trouble with these guys.
Yeah.
Well, they're like privates, essentially. I would say, right? They're not
right. They've had some training, but they're not. Because initially, I think we even talked about it's like, how are we fighting? How are these level 1 characters fighting? As it's supposed to be this premier, high functioning military, the might of the Aslanti or whatever, but like these are low ranking, like not even officially.
Yeah,
baby.
They just got pulled into it by that one guy whose name I'm not going to say because Tony's here.
Oh, right. Yeah, but that one guy, he's a real prick.
I can leave. I can go to the restroom.
No, we won't do that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good adventure.
It is.
For sure.
I would say like my favorite part of when we played it, sort of just to tie it all in, is again on episode 2, we had our first ground combat and it went real poorly. Like almost TPK'd there on the first combat. And it was really tense and really fun. And then we get to the next encounter and they just like wipe the floor with the enemies there. And it was
nice.
Just that dichotomy, that juxtaposition was just so funny.
It was great. We were mentioning a little, I think before the air, like re-recording stuff. We actually had to re-record episode 2, or specifically session 2, because I forget what happened, but like some of the footage got fucked up, and just like, you know what, let's just re-record everything, guys, because this footage.
Yeah, we like
bad.
lost an entire audio file or something like that.
Something like that. I think someone's audio got like screwed over. So we're like, fuck, I guess we got to re-record session 2. But it was hilarious because the first time we played through that section, and in the original recording, it actually went super smooth. We did fantastic. We like snuck up on these dudes, took them out super quick, and just like beat the shit out of the Hobgars. And like the second encounter, and so when we re-recorded, we're like, oh my god, this is way more harrowing this time.
The second time the dice were not on your guys' side.
No, the dice were very mean. But like, I actually ended up liking that more because it felt more dramatic, and it was more interesting than just going in and just wiping out the dudes.
Right.
For sure.
Well, so now you're into recording book 2, right?
Yep.
And you've released this series of mini eps called Adrift, and as you may know, we're big fans of taking time to focus on the quote-unquote quiet moments, kind of in between the action of the AP. So it's really cool to see y'all doing something similar. How has the mini episode process differed from your main adventure episodes?
Not much. They are, like, the way we make them is pretty much the same. We actually recorded them all in a single session, like we do with our normal episodes, and just cut them up. Originally, we were going to put it all out as one episode in between chapters, but then, we came to realize that our production time would not allow for that. We needed more time to work on episodes, so we decided to cut it up into smaller chunks and to put it out over time to give our viewers, a little bit of something to sort of ease that gap between main content. So as far as like the process of making them, there's not really much different. I think the biggest thing is like you said, we get to really delve into the characters, and it's a lot more hands-off for me as the GM, because I just set up these situations and then I say, okay, this is what's happening. It's, the people who are in this scene are Uko and Nevessa, and there's some weird stuff happening around Uko. You guys work it out, and just let them sort of go and improv the scene. And so, yeah, it's a lot more hands-off for me, a lot less prep for me, and just sort of like I said, just letting them go and have fun with it.
Yeah, on one of the later episodes, we actually weren't even in Roll20 at first until I asked to do something, and Nick was like, oh shit, I guess we got a little Roll20 for you to roll some dice.
Yeah, those are always fun. And I know that Adam feels the same way, Nick, that he really enjoys getting to be hands-off and kind of just let scenes play out.
I actually really got inspired by what you started doing, Adam. I forget which episode, but you started going like, all right, let's, I want to take some time. I know we have this adventure going on, but I want to, just check in with each character and find out where their headspace is at, and it wasn't necessarily like, forcing the players to RP with each other, but you're just speaking individually to each person and saying like, hey, how's your character doing? And I thought that was really cool because, not everyone, like sometimes role playing is a little unnatural sometimes to some people. Sometimes people are like, I really want to explore my character more, but sometimes people wait for the prompt, and sometimes it doesn't show up in role play. Right. And I like you doing that, because it'll give people that opportunity to be like, oh yeah, this is what characters thinking and what they're doing. And I thought that was really cool, and it's something I try to incorporate now in games. And I'm not DMing a lot. I'm playing in more games, but I'll say that talk to the GM and be like, hey, you should try using this tool that I learned from my friend Adam, because it's really cool and really really handy.
Yeah,
I mean, I appreciate that. For me, it's just because I'm just interested, and like there's in like most of the games that we play, there's no way to get what a character is thinking on the inside.
Exactly. Yeah.
Asking them, because like it's not going to come. There's a lot of things that a character may be feeling and thinking inside that they're purposefully keeping inside because of who we are as people, and there's not like an appropriate time to just say, hey, I'm feeling this way right now, like in the middle of stuff. So I like to present those opportunities, whether or not we're actually role playing or not. We're still just talking about what your character's feeling, so we can, me and the listeners and everybody can kind of be in the headspace and like realize, hey, we just did a whole adventuring day where we almost died like 6 times. What is that? There's an effect that's going to be there.
Yeah, what kind of toll does that take on you?
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's genius. It's so cool, because exactly what you said, it allows, because everyone that plays, it's like, oh, you have, like, if you ask someone's like, they always have like a thought process. Like, it's like, oh, my character is feeling like this, and this is why they did that, because they were feeling this way and they reacted this way, but no one ever, like, hardly ever hears that. So that was a great way to bring that up, to give people that chance to explore that and show the, behind the scenes wheels turning, for their characters. Right. And also it's a great way too, because then the other players can hear that and they're like, oh, things aren't so, one-dimensional with these characters, and maybe, even though out of character, they're not, witnessing what their other people are saying, but it'll at least, then it might give you the opportunity to be like, oh, hey, maybe my character now realizes that this person's feeling such and such way. Maybe I can follow up with that and ask them about it. So it opens up RP opportunities as well, which is why I really liked it and thought it was really cool.
And like for us, spoilers for the second minisode. So if you haven't watched that, spoiler warning. But
just hold your ears for a minute.
Exactly, plug your ears. But now that Mishka and Uko are bonded, like they have this supernatural ability to sort of sense each other's emotions, each other's thoughts, that sort of thing. So I think doing something like that is something that I'm going to have to be definitely more conscious of as I go forward. Just checking in with Uko and Mishka so that, they're, as players, they're aware of what the other characters are feeling as well, because now there's a mechanic around it.
Right. Now they're supposed to know that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I love the interlude format. I hope that y'all continue to work that into your release schedule. I thought they were really cool. Like, as I said, I really love the quiet moments in between. Those are oftentimes my favorite episodes. And so y'all did a good job with that. And I think not only does it buy you the time that you're looking for, but the little digestible bites gives a real focus to a particular thing. And like you can take that in and like really process that moment. And I think it's a good call,
Thank you. Yeah, we have 3 more, I think, in the can. We just put out the 4th one on Wednesday. And we have 7 total. So we have some more coming out that are ready to go. We don't know, like, we've been putting them out monthly at this point, and we might continue doing monthly. We might do it quicker if we get more work done. It's really just a matter of how quickly we can get
to season 2,
our
chapter
2 production stuff schedule is always the boss.
Yeah. One thing I did remember though, which is nice about the Adrift episodes, the mini episodes, is originally, we did record them all or most of them in one sitting, but then after we figured out what we were going to do with them, and we were like, oh, we're going to release these as mini episodes. We actually did record a few more after that, so to be like, it's like, oh yeah, this is cool to explore, so maybe we'll record a few more things, and it's like to try and figure out, it's like what stories we want to tell, and what things do we want to explore with these mini episodes, and maybe also have some of the content from these mini episodes carry over into campaign 2, or not campaign 2, book 2 and stuff like that.
Season 2, yep.
So
yeah. Speaking of book 2,
ways to set up stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks for the alley-oop, man.
Hey.
So I know we can't get too into spoilers, but Nick, what are you looking forward to in book 2? Is there anything you can kind of like
should I get my earmuffs?
So honestly, I'm really looking forward to I will just sort of minor spoiler here because your listeners have already heard what's going to happen, at least like the general strokes of it. I am really looking forward to seeing how they're going to deal with Gulta when they get there. Just knowing the way that this group has dealt with circumventing the Aslanti, or at least trying to in the past, and just the way that they RP encounters, I'm very curious to see how that plays out. But
me too. That is what I'm most looking forward to.
I will say we have recorded the first chunk of it where they're on Outpost Z, and when they go and they're trying to find Talmrin, and they're talking to all of the different NPCs in the marketplace. Doing all of those NPC voices and all of those interactions, when I was editing that episode, I just had the biggest smile on my face the entire time.
Those are so good.
It's a lot of fun.
It was so much fun, and that episode is just like, it's hilarious. It's so funny. I can't wait for people to see
There's just so many good aliens, and Nick, as always, does a fantastic job of RPing and voicing them. It's very fun, and I'm excited to see our viewers' reactions to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing how differently or similarly, you handle something. It's always fun listening to another group run the same AP that you've run, because you just get to compare and contrast. It's a lot of fun.
Well, Aeon Throne's awesome. I'm glad you guys are running it. And, I just want to say before we move to another subject that obviously we respect you guys very much and what you're doing with this adventure. I mean, it's an adventure close to our heart. I mean, it's the opening bread and butter of our show. And so we genuinely are like impressed and pleased about what you've done with the adventure so far. And if you're listening to this and you haven't checked them out by now, for real, go check it out. It is different enough for you to enjoy it, even though you already heard us play it, because they're doing a really bang up job with it. But you're doing other things too.
Yeah, thank you guys.
We got a little let's play action going on.
Yeah, we do.
So in between these books, you're playing Baldur's Gate 3. I myself am a huge fan of the early Baldur's Gate games. I played those when I was in high school. A little age check there, I guess. But and I'm very excited to get into Baldur's Gate 3 when it officially comes out, and I have the proper machine to run it. But first off, the question I want to ask you guys: have either of you played the original Baldur's Gate games 1 and 2?
I've dabbled in them. I've never played them all the way through. I watched my brother play a lot of them. He's a little older than I am, so I watched him play all of them back when we were kids. And I've dabbled in them, but not much.
What about you, Tony? Did you play it at all?
I unfortunately did not play the originals because those were mainly on PC, right? I did not.
Oh, yeah.
I did not have a good PC until like after college.
Yeah. They were my first introduction to D&D, like, because they're very much based on the system, like it's the rules of D&D.
They were based on advanced D&D, right?
Yeah. And so that is a whole mess of rules, the games have gotten better, like since then, although a lot of people still love the old school vibe of it, but it was a challenging game, but the story was awesome. And I like really, really loved them. And then I recently downloaded like their re-release of it that's like a little bit upgraded and packaged, you can get it through Steam or whatever, and started playing through it again. But it really just like introduced that idea of like of really being able to do what you want as an RPG and making it like translating that experience to a computer, or to a video game or whatever. Definitely. Like it really opened that space. And so I guess my follow-up question is going to be a little tainted because you guys haven't had too much experience with it. But I know that Baldur's Gate 3, the gameplay style is drastically different from those early games. Most notably that it's gone turn-based. Yep. In the old ones, like you literally had to pause it and like think about what you were going to do, and then it kind of queue some things up because everything happened in real time. So Baldur's Gate 3 is made by the same company that did Divinity, which is well known for being excellent at its mechanics and turn-based system. And so I'm excited that it's going to that. But it's also upgraded the mechanics from AD&D up to 5e. Yep. So my question was, does Baldur's Gate 3 still feel like it's part of the same series? Let me rephrase that to say, does it still encapsulate the playing a game of D&D in the same way that Baldur's Gate did in the early days?
I think that they did a really good job of translating the 5th edition rules into a video game. They had to make some concessions on certain things to make it actually functional as a computer game, but I think they did a really good job. And I think, there's only the first act out right now, but even that, it definitely feels like you are in Faerun. You are seeing monsters from the monster manual. You're seeing classes and abilities from the player's handbook and all of that stuff. So I think that they did a really good job of staying really faithful, but also making it a little bit more streamlined so that it can function as a computer game.
Mm-hmm. So what classes have you guys played so far or checked out?
So this is like my third playthrough of the early access stuff. So I've played a ranger, warlock, and now I'm playing a fighter in our Let's Play series.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how do those feel?
They feel
Which
great.
of those do you like?
Warlock is a lot of fun. I think out of the three, Ranger was my favorite. Just because you have a lot more diversity of abilities. You can sort of talk to anybody or any animal or whatever you want at any time. And I really, whenever I play an RPG like this, I always want to have all of the dialogue options available to me, So that was a big part of why I like the Ranger. But the Warlock, just like in 5th edition, the moveset is pretty limited and you only have the limited amount of spell slots when you're playing. But like, you are such a powerhouse and
blasting that Eldritch
Blast. You can't beat it.
A glass cannon the entire time, just destroying stuff from afar, and it's really satisfying.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've just played the fighter and a druid so far. I think the fighter is just because I remade one of my characters from another campaign. I was like, and it's early access, so they don't have everything yet. And I usually like to play the weirder classes. So they don't have the ones I truly enjoy playing yet. So I'm excited to try those,
Singer.
like Barbarian, and I'm really curious to see how a monk would play in this.
Yeah, I want a Sorcerer.
Yeah, and Sorcerer. So I'm looking forward to trying those. But so far, I'm having a lot of fun with the Druid. It's if you guys have seen our Dice Versa Plays videos, I have a lot of fun turning into a stupid bear.
Yeah, the animation when you sneak around as the bear is just so top notch. The one downside about the druid is you can't talk to people when you're in animal form, so you kind of have to either waste a wild shape to switch back out to talk to someone, or just not use it until you get into combat or whatever. So you
just gotta bear with it, man.
Ha.
Oh boy.
That was my time. I'll see you guys later.
We'll see you. So are there anything you're looking forward to in the finished product of Baldur's Gate 3? that you've heard about? Or
I mean, for me, the biggest thing is getting the other character classes in. I would love to see that. I think that we may have broken the game with our last session. We may have gotten into a state where we might have trouble progressing the story from where we are now, because we started a fight that I don't think we were supposed to start, and now all of the NPCs hate us.
Oh no!
So we may have broken the game. So I'm looking forward to that being fixed.
Well, that's like the purpose of a beta early release, right? Is to see if you can break it. So.
Exactly. Yeah, we
so
were
you're
trying
looking forward to not breaking the game?
We were trying to do like an evil run where we're just playing the biggest assholes that we can be. And turns out that's not how they expect you to play that game.
How can they not expect that?
Turns out that's very chaotic. I'd say that's probably more our party's alignment in that game. It's more chaotic rather than specifically evil.
True. That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, the Baldur's Gate 3 run, it's up on YouTube.
Yep, it is. We're putting
check it out there.
With
we have 4 episodes out.
Yeah, we're putting that out every other week. Again, mostly just to fill the gap in between chapters. Those videos are definitely a little less popular than our main ones, but the people who do watch them seem to enjoy them. So we'll probably keep putting them out as long as we can keep playing the game and it's not actually broken. We'll see.
Yeah.
Right.
And I edit those videos, so I try to make them stupid and silly. I try to throw in my dumb little edits in there to entertain mostly myself while editing.
The Warlock does not yell Kamehameha when they use Eldritch Blast. That's Tony's doing.
That's true.
So we actually have a couple of listener questions real quick. Our resident curmudgeon in Discord, Commodore, asks, I guess he's stating a fact and then asking, as he does.
Okay.
He says, I see you've embraced the truth that 3 PCs is the best table size. He asks, what do you guys love about small table play?
Well, I agree with him completely. I do think that 3 PCs is the best table size, especially for an actual play. It just keeps everything flowing a lot quicker. It gives us less to edit, which is a huge thing. And I think a lot of it goes back to just like the rule of 3s, like it's just more satisfying. You sort of just have everybody can sort of play off of each other. There's nobody ever left hanging. It just flows really, really well.
It was also like not just that, but when we were talking about starting up Dice Versa, and we really wanted to be like deliberate and careful about who was in the crew, because everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people like playing tabletop RPGs, but some people's play styles are different than others. So we wanted to make sure we had that the crew was comprised of people, cohesive. that were cohesive and like-minded and wanted to role play as and bounce off of each other and have fun and not be assholes.
Right.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we had like 7 or 8 people at one point in our.
This is pre the show, right?
Oh, okay. Pre the show. So when it came time for us to start Southern Tomfoolery, it was like, we can't have an 8-person table, and we had to do a similar sort of thing where, friends who maybe didn't have the bandwidth or the availability to commit to that project.
They didn't have those sweet radio voices.
That's right.
Yeah, but we still love them anyway. We still love them if they're listening. Another question that I have, the next question, I guess the final question, because we're a little crunched for time, but Jake the Synth asked, what made Uko choose Mishka over Navisa?
Well,
I guess they're not here to answer.
That's a question for Eric, but I'll do my best to answer just based on you'll get a little taste of it when we finally release the first episode of Chapter 2. But Uko is a very military-minded individual, and he puts physical and battle capability above a lot of other stuff. And I think that he just saw more capability in Mishka than he did in Nevessa, even though Nevessa is technically like a consulting detective for the stewards. But she, her battery pack falls out of her gun a lot. And I think that may have tainted her in Uko's eyes.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah, I think we actually touch on that on one of the Adrift episodes, the one specifically where they get bonded. But it was more or less,
that's right.
Uko saw Mishka as a fellow kindred warrior spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a nice, succinct way of putting it, for sure, for sure. Well, gentlemen, we have really enjoyed having you. Thank you for coming on today. We want to give you a quick chance to what's coming up for Dice Versa. We know you have book 2 coming out soon. Can you tell about when that release is? What's next for Dice Versa?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having us on. Definitely been looking forward to this, and I think it's awesome that you guys are shining the spotlight on other shows like you do. So thank you so much for doing that and for having us on.
Yeah, thank you guys. It means a lot for our awesome small growing show.
Yep.
Yeah, we want people to check you out.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so fun.
As far as what's next, so one thing that we tell people when they say are you still making the show? I hope you guys can keep making the show. We say we're going to keep making it as long as life doesn't get in the way. And that is still the plan. And life has gotten in the way a little bit as of late. As I told you guys, I'm in the middle of moving. I just got married, and just life is chaotic right now.
So nothing real big.
Nothing huge. No.
Nothing huge.
But yeah, things have been a little chaotic, but we're still plugging away. And like I said, we have 3 more mini episodes in the can. So that should take us at least through August if we need to. And our hope is to release Chapter 2 as soon as we can. We want to get at least 5 episodes done before we start putting them out, so that we have a little bit of a buffer in between what we're releasing and what we're working on. And we're getting there, but it's been a process. So we want to put it out. I'm going to say at the latest, we'll be releasing Chapter 2 in September, but hopefully much earlier than that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Fantastic. Yeah. Okay, cool. So where can everyone find you? I know we've mentioned it before, but go ahead, plug away.
Yeah, you can find us. The easiest way to find us is to go to diceversa.net. There you'll see our... we have embedded YouTube videos, and all of our social media is linked on there. But if you just want to find us on social media, we're at Dice Versa Play Show on Twitter and Instagram, and I think we have a Facebook group as well. Yep. So, and then there's also the Dice Versa Discord server, which you can check out. And there's also the Dice Versa Patreon. If you end up checking out the show and you really like it and you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/diceversa, and we put out bonus content. We put out episode extras. So we do commentary for every episode where we go back and watch it and just talk about the session and what we were sort of thinking at the time. And we also put out those are fun. We also put out deleted scenes and other little bonus things for our Patreon backers. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good bits from the deleted scenes, which is us just saying dumb shit that is often super irrelevant and gets cut out from the main episode.
Right.
See, we just leave that shit in, man.
Some of it.
Yeah. But hey, guys, thanks so much for taking your time coming on the show. We loved having you on. We really enjoy what you're doing over there at Dice Versa. So thanks again for coming on. And just want to know, do you guys want to do a proper STF send-off with us?
Sure.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, all right. So
we'll see you.
I didn't know what to say. I'm sorry.